Alrighty. See where we're at. Today is shit. Today's Sunday, September 22nd, 2024, 12 p.m. Uh this is post this is so last week I did cycle number 3 of my testicular cancer chemotherapy treatment. So today, I don't know. I know I was doing like day 1, day 2. I didn't keep up and do the days as of recently. I'm gonna keep it real. I just was out of it. I didn't feel good. I felt like shit, and I just really didn't feel like recording anything. I didn't feel like talking. I didn't feel like doing much of anything. So I'm not even at right now off the top of my head. I'm not sure what's the last day or the last thing I recorded. But I know it was up in Jacksonville when I was getting my treatment. This last one was rough, boys. This last one was rough. I cannot lie to you. Um, so like I said, this was cycle 3. This one, yeah, this one messed me up, man. This one messed me up. I again, real quick, sorry if the lighting like comes and goes. It is what it is. Just bear with me on this. But I wanted to touch base and give an update. First off, the first thing I will note for myself is that I feel like this is really the beginning of me feeling. This is really me feeling like I look exactly how I feel. That's what I want to say. Meaning what? Meaning I look to me like an actual cancer patient now. Like I've lost a good amount. I don't know exactly at this point how much weight I lost, but excuse me. I know I've lost a good bit of weight just from not eating. On whether it be this fucking lighting, man. Stand by, stand by. Alright, so hopefully that helps the lighting situation. I don't know. But um so yeah, basically between weeks 2 and 3 is when you'll start to see the noticeable, that's when you really, to me at least, you see the noticeable changes, the weight loss, the um people lose their eyebrow hairs and stuff. Mine are still kind of trying to hang in there, but you know, it is what it is. At this point, I just want to be done with all of this. I'm just over it, you know. So this last cycle definitely kicked my ass. Like I'm just all tapped out. Um, the biggest thing I've pulled from this stuff is, as far as physically, is that I get bad digestive, like loss of appetite, nausea. Um, I will say I'm lucky. I haven't thrown up. I haven't had any issues throwing up. No vomiting for me, which I'm grateful. Like I really don't want to be throwing up. I just hate that shit. I hate just feeling nauseous. But just the act of vomiting also is like, ugh. I mean, nobody likes to, right? But that being said, the nausea, the indigestion, loss of appetite, that'll make you obviously you. There's days where I just can't even stomach water, plain water, like. And this last cycle was rough. Um, so just to give a bit of context, the I actually started this last cycle a week late because I my white blood cell count was too low. So I was scheduled to start. When I went in, they drew my labs. They said your white blood cell counts are too low. We can't push treatment. So they pushed it a week later. Um, Following week, which was last week, um, I went to do treatment, and my counts barely went up. They went up, but as you'd imagine, in a week, they're not gonna go up that much. So they went up a little bit, and they just felt at that point like, all right, well, we're gonna push. You're gonna get treatment. So I got treatment. I did 4 out of 5 day cycle because on the 5th day when I got there was no power. I don't know what happened. The treatment center just lost power or whatever, and I wasn't about to sit around and wait. I already didn't want to do treatment, to be honest. I was looking for a way to get the hell up out of there. So I just took that as a sign from God, and I said, I'm out. It's not my fault. I showed up to treatment. They couldn't do anything. They said there's no way to guarantee what time the power will be back, what time you'll be able to get scheduled. And I wasn't about to sit around feeling like shit already to wait and see when can I feel even further like shit. So I took that as my sign and I got up out of there. The following day I went in to get the shot they give you this shot to boost your blood cell count up and stuff. And so I went in there the next day, got my shot. At which point that was Saturday, I went in for the shot. And at that point, I was already feeling like shit. The effects were starting to kick my ass. I had a low grade fever. I was running about 99 to 100. And so the danger with that, when you have low blood count, low white blood cell count, essentially you have no defense system, no immune system, so you're immune compromised. And at that point, you run the risk of something called running what is it? Neutropenic. You run a risk of being neutropenic or neutropenic fever. So essentially, when you're dealing with that, they want you to keep an eye on your fever, because normally, under any normal circumstance, when you run a fever, it's your body's way of trying to fight off something, right? If you get sick and you get a fever, your body basically heats your entire body up to essentially fry or cook whatever pathogen is messing with you. Because a lot of pathogens, they thrive in your body temperature. But if you heat up just slightly, a lot of them will die off because they're not acclimated to that temperature. So your body tries to fight it off by heating you up. And under normal circumstances, that's, as long as you're not running a super high fever, it's okay. You could, you sweat it out, you rest, you take your fluids, you take your Tylenol, whatever, right? You could fight it at home, fevers. But again, that's under normal circumstances, which is when you have a normal immune system, right? A healthy white blood cell count. But when you're a cancer patient, that's not always the case. And I already went into that treatment with low white blood cell count. So as you can imagine, it was something to keep an eye on. And so I was running a fever for about two, almost 3 days, I think, at that point. And later that evening, I hit a fever of like 100.8 or something like that. So I just broke over the point of where it's considered an emergency. So I had to go to the ER, got checked out. They gave me some antibiotics. They drew labs to see, if there was some type of infection, if I was going sepsis, which is like a blood infection, whatnot. Thankfully, none of that was the case. There was no way of knowing at that point if I had like a bug or something, maybe. I suspect that it was the chemo. I think the chemo, because some people get, you get fevers, you get sick, you get nausea, you get vomiting, you get all types of fucked up side effects from chemo. I think the chemo just fucking messed me up. plain and simple. I think it just jacked me up in my body. You know, being the third cycle, I think my body was like, oh, we're sick. Like, it was just the reaction to the low blood cell count, the nausea, everything. I think my body was just trying to excrete all this shit out of my body. You know, it was like, this shit is poison. We're sick. So I think it just went into that mode. Could it have been also, you know, that I got sick? Maybe I caught a bug. Maybe. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Also, um, at this point, it's kind of a moot point. It doesn't really matter. But um, thankfully, I'm feeling better. But it was rough, man. I had bad shits. Had bad diarrhea for a day. That's It's been a week, and I'm just slowly beginning to get normal bowel movement, like normal stools. But there was a day in between, a few days ago, like 4 days ago at this point. Bad runs, bad diarrhea, bad. I went to the bathroom like 6 times, 7 times maybe. Um, it was bad. It was bad. It was just liquid water, pain. Um, I had to just I was scared to eat anything the following day. You know, I just wouldn't eat. Um, I ate very little. I just try to let my body not constantly, you know, I didn't want to give it more stuff to just keep shitting out constantly. So I just, yeah, I didn't really eat much. And again, circling back to what I was saying before, it's inevitable that you're gonna lose weight and you're gonna look and feel like a damn cancer patient. Because unless, you know, you get lucky, there's guys who have adverse effects where the steroids make them insatiably hungry, and so they gain. I think that's the minority. I don't think that's most people, but because when you think of a patient on chemo, you know, you think like just emaciated looking, hungry, like underweight, all shriveled up and shit, and you don't think of somebody who's fat and overweight. But apparently there's people like that, you know. There's those cases where you can gain weight because of the steroids. Um, for me, the steroids give me insomnia. They keep me up. I do notice though that the steroids help on chemo days. You could still kind of function. Like, you feel like shit, but you could still get up and walk around and stuff like that. Because the days where you don't have steroids, like the following days post chemo treatment are the worst. Chemo days suck. You feel sluggish, fatigued, and just whatever, pooped. But like, you've had worse hangovers. But the following days post treatment, oh yeah, that's when the fun really starts. That's when you're just tested for sure. And depending on what you get, what kind of symptoms and side effects you got to deal with is what's going to test you personally. So yeah, I think that kind of sums up where I'm at. This one was so brutal that as of today, I don't know. I'm scheduled for a fourth cycle next week, actually. So not this week. This week I'm off, but following week I'm scheduled for the fourth and final cycle for my treatment. As of today, I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. We'll see. This was just brutal. It was rough. It was rough, and my whole thing is I'm not too much of anything in life is not good, right? So I'm not willing to take this treatment or take any medicine for that matter if you don't need it. I don't want to be over medicated. Unfortunately, the medical system has a bad habit of thinking people are just a one size fits all. Well, this shows that this works for these people, and so this is the regimen for this, and this is it. And it's like, life is not so black and white, man. people, there's not a one size fits all for everything, and it's it is what it is. I'm not crying over spilled milk, but it's it's ironic. There's something to be said because for certain things, the hypocrisy of the system is that they'll highlight it. They'll, oh yeah, everybody's different. You get different side effects. Some people deal with it. Like, it's just your bullshit meter goes off. Like, okay, so for this specific instance, you acknowledge that life is not one size fits all. Some people deal with this, some people deal with that. This is normal, this is not. This is probably specific to you, this is not. You acknowledge it then, but for other things, it's like, no, this is it. There's no way to, no flexibility. This is what you have to do. Like, there's no nuance. There's no, like, that's not how it works, man. That's not how it works. You're not about to just overly medicate. At the end of the day, I'm the one that's got to deal with this shit. This is my body. Um, I got to live with the effects of whatever happens to this body for the rest of my days. This is my body. I got to go live with it. Good, bad, in between, whatever happens to this body, whatever this body benefits from, whatever this body has to suffer from, whatever goes on with this particular body, I get the final word because I'm the one that got to deal with it. I'm the one that got to live with it. So I think because this one was so brutal, my mind is just kind of just, I'm trying to enjoy feeling better actually. Today is probably day 2 that I'm actually feeling better from this last cycle, so I'm just trying to enjoy that, soak it up, and not even think about nothing else. Um, my birthday's coming up, and not even that's on my mind. Honestly, I don't. It is what it is. I'm just trying to focus on feeling better, man, and appreciating feeling good and the small things you take for granted, like a normal bowel movement or being able to eat your meal, and like these little things that we take for granted. Sure enough, things like this will force you to just enjoy it much more. It's that much sweeter. It's that much more of a gratitude inducing experience. So that's where I'm at with it right now. Obviously, as the days come on and things go through, um, I'm gonna keep updating this because this is not over. But I'm grateful, man. We get in there, and it's just one step at a time, one day at a time. So I'll check you on the next one.